Okay, good morning everybody. I hope everybody's doing fine today, feeling well. Hope the weather's good. We got a cool day here in South Carolina, sunny, blue skies. The heat lamp just rose over that live oak tree, so it's starting to warm things up here. Feel a little toasty. I'm Brent Jeffries, Bierer Meters, Vice President of Field Operations, Safety Trainer and Speaker. And we are coming to you from our live line training center here in South Carolina that you all are welcome to come on out anytime, bring your crews, do some training, and we'll go over things with you all. But real quick, ECOS Electric Culture of Safety, we're in our 13th month now, so just over a year, and we have over 5,000 registered members. And I believe this time next year we'll probably have close to 10,000 at least. As you can see, we have a lot of sponsors, a lot of folks that are endorsing, including Empirical, who is sponsoring this particular meeting with Mr. Rod Courtney, CUSP, the safety director with Empirical. He'll be speaking to you about the tip of the spear. And this is going to be an excellent presentation. He came out last July and talked about the 8 habits of a highly effective safety culture. This book here is a must-have for all the folks, CEOs down to ground crews. He just comes and speaks about safety in a whole new perspective. It's very dynamic and it changes everything that you've heard before. And I highly recommend it for everybody to get this book and read it, understand it. So real quick, next month we've got Mr. Mark Todd coming in. He's with the Electric Cities of North Carolina. He's going to be speaking about how to create, ensure, and maintain a safe working environment. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for several years with Electric Cities of North Carolina. I'm excited for him. He's got a nice, real healthy beard there. It's pretty cool. And then we got Mr. Caleb Thompson. This is going to be a double header next month. Mr. Caleb Thompson with Timpson Training Systems. He's also CUSP certified utility safety professional, along with Mr. Rod Courtney here. And he's going to be talking about how effective is your training. He's also a bud of mine, known him for several years. And both these guys are coming in, and both of these are going to be great. Register. All you got to do to register to ECOS Electric Culture of Safety is simply email me at safetytraining@bieremeters.com. Simple. And I'll register you, I'll sign you up, I'll send you all the episodes that we have to date. Now what I want to do is get you with Mr. Rod. He's going to get started here, and this is going to be a treat for you all. If you have not heard him speak, man, make sure you got your coffee, make sure you're in your seat, and just pay attention. All right, so Mr. Rod, go ahead, brother.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Brent and Bierer Meters, thank you for having me back. As you said, guys, I was here last July and we talked about the 8 habits, right? And the book was finally published back at the end of August. And then, September, it kind of went viral. So it's kind of taken a life of its own. But anyway, as he said, my name is Rod Courtney. I am the Director of Health and Safety for a company called Empirical. And what Empirical is, we are an engineering and construction firm, an EPC contractor. So all of the systems that you guys work on, from the substations, transmission, distribution, and all that, we engineer and build that. Empirical also has a sister company called Compere that is also a construction company. We actually build the stuff, the substations and the T&D and all that. So that's who I am. I'm also a board member for the USOLN. You can see here on the banner I have here what the USOLN is. The Utility Safety and Operations Leadership Network. And what it is, it's a nonprofit organization that we certify all CUSPs. So some of you guys watching right now, you have your CUSP, and we're the ones that certify you. You guys see me at the conferences and everything. If you're interested, though, and want to learn more about the USOLN or becoming a CUSP, or maybe some of your people becoming CUSPs, just go to the usoln.org website and it'll explain everything for you. It's a phenomenal organization, and we are the only certifying body that is specific to utilities. And back to the book. So as I said, the book came out finally in August of last year. September, October timeframe, it started doing really well. And then early this year, it hit #1 on Amazon. So thank you guys so much for all the support. What I want to talk about today, though, is it's kind of about habit number 5. Habit number 5 says, stop managing people. And I mean that. First of all, let's understand something. You can't manage a person, all right? You can manage situations, you can manage processes, procedures, you can even manage outcomes sometimes. You cannot manage a person. People, you lead people. Now, you can lead them in the right way or the wrong way, but I promise you, you are leading them. Now, what this presentation is about, it's called Tip of the Spear. It's a tactical approach to safety leadership. And it doesn't have to be just safety, it's leadership in general. But just understand something. Leadership is a skill. It's not something that you can just do, okay? How many of you out there right now, on your resume somewhere it says, I'm a natural born leader? Do me a favor. Go to your resume right now, and if it says that, take it off, because that's garbage. That is not true. It is not possible. Saying I'm a natural born leader, Brent, it's like saying I'm a natural born helicopter pilot. What sense does that make? Zero, right? Now, could it be easier for you to be a helicopter pilot if your father was a helicopter pilot, your grandfather was, you grew up around them, you had an airfield next to your house? Yes, absolutely, it could be easier. Same thing with leadership. If you had good leaders in your life and you grew up around that, absolutely could be easier for you. But understand this, leadership is a skill just like flying a helicopter. If you don't study it, if you don't go out and intentionally learn how to be a leader, you're never going to be a great leader. So let's get into the presentation real quick. So let's talk about that, the difference between management and leadership. I told you a second ago, it's not possible to manage a person, right? You manage situations and processes and so on. But management is a noun, all right? And here it talks about it's a process of dealing with and controlling things, or the people that are in charge of running a company, or how they're regarded, responsibilities for control of an organization and things like that. All right, that's management. Leadership, on the other hand, is a verb. Leadership is the action of leading a group of people or an organization, or a person or an organization. Makes no difference. But the difference between the two, you can see, management is things. Leadership is people. So you manage things, you lead people, okay? Now, how do people normally become leaders? Or let's say it like this. How do they end up in leadership positions? Think about your own company. Think about past companies, or all your past experiences. Let's say I'm a pipe fitter, and I'm a really good pipe fitter, and I know how to do. I'm really good at it. What happens over time is I get promoted because I'm a really good pipe fitter, and now I'm in a leadership position. I'm a foreman, I'm a lead man, I'm a superintendent, whatever it is, but I am now in charge of people, all because I'm really good at my job. What sense does that make? Now, I'm not saying good pipe fitters, good people that are good at their job shouldn't be put in leadership positions. What I'm saying is that they've never been trained to be a leader. Just because they're a good pipe fitter does not mean they're going to make a good leader, okay? Again, it's a separate skill. Just because you're good at your job doesn't mean you're going to be a good leader. You have to practice it and study it. So they're technically proficient at their job, so they get promoted. Now, who they know, I've seen this one a lot, and you guys know what I'm talking about, right? It's all about who you know, and the next thing you know, you're getting promoted, and they're in charge of something, and it's all because they know somebody. Well, they have a degree. or a certification. How many times have you seen this? Now, I'm not putting down on degrees or certifications, because you can see I have more letters behind my name than in my name. And that's all great, good stuff. I'm not taking away from it, but what I'm saying is this. I don't care how many degrees you have. I don't care how many certifications you have. That doesn't make you a good leader. But a lot of times, because you have this on your resume, people say, oh, let's put this in a leadership position. Put him or her in this, management position or director position. And they've never been trained how to deal with people. So, the two most important skills for a leader. So let's talk for a minute about the Navy SEALs, right? So the Navy SEALs are some of the greatest war fighters to ever walk this planet. Now, years ago, you had never heard about SEAL Team 6. No one knew what that was. Until, in the last few years, where there's now movies about it. There are, the American Sniper and the Captain Phillips and all these different ones, right? So now everybody knows what SEAL Team 6 is. But if you want to become a member of SEAL Team 6, let's say that's your goal in life. You want to be a member of SEAL Team 6. You cannot join the Navy, do your training, and then get an assignment to SEAL Team 6. That cannot happen, okay? Here's how it works. First of all, you join the Navy, you go through Navy basic training, and then you go through their A school or C school or whatever they call it. It's your technical school, real basic stuff usually. And then you can go to BUDS. Now, everybody knows BUDS because of Hell Week, right? You see it on the movies and stuff. And BUDS is Basic Underwater Demolition School. And everybody knows BUDS because of that 3 or 4 day period of time that they call Hell Week, right? Where they're sending them out into the surf and they're making them get sandy and they're carrying the boats and the logs and, spraying them with water and all that stuff, right? That's what people think of when they think of BUDS. Well, see, BUDS is about 6 months long. That's only 3 or 4 days of BUDS. If you graduate BUDS, that's 6 months, which is only roughly 20 to 25% of people that sign up that make it all the way to BUDS. Only about 25% of those are going to graduate. It's actually less than that, but very few are actually going to make it that far. Now, you graduated BUDS, you've been through that training, now you're a Navy SEAL. No, that's not true. Now you have to go to SEAL selection, and you go through more training. It's more combat type training now. After you do that, then you get assigned to a team. Now, there are multiple teams out there, but you will never get orders from the Department of the Navy that say, you're going to SEAL Team 6, okay? You can go to SEAL Team 1 through 5, 7, 8, 9, however many there are, you can go to one of those, but 6 you can't. See, SEAL Team 6 is the elite of the elite. They are the best of the best. So how, now that I've done all this, I've become this Navy SEAL. I'm not a Navy SEAL, by the way, just so you know. But, let's say that I've completed all this training. I have my trident. I'm a member of a SEAL team. So now, in order to become a member of SEAL Team 6, number one, you have to have been deployed at least twice, and you have to have 5 years in the teams. Now, once you have that, the only way you're going to make it to the elite of the elite SEAL Team 6 is to be selected by a member or members of SEAL Team 6. They have to request you. They have to say, Brent Jeffries, you're phenomenal at your job. You're one of the best SEAL operators out there. We want you to be on SEAL Team 6. Now, you have to go through what they call Green Team. Green Team is another 4 to 6 month training operation that they evaluate you. And only about 25% of these people make it through that. Once you make it through that, now the selection process, so now they know that you're good at your job, right? So we have that part covered. But in order to be the elite of the elite, you have to be a good leader. So how do they select you? How do they select you to become a member of this extremely elite SEAL team. Here's how it is. Number one is performance. Now, performance is just what I said. Are you good at your job? Okay? That is what we just went through. And you must be really good at your job. But the second part is what they call trust. Okay? So if you can imagine, this is a graph, okay? And you can see on the horizontal side, the vertical side, it says performance. On the horizontal, the bottom side, it says trust. Now, performance and trust kind of overlap, okay? Because performance is, I trust you with my life, okay? And they say that the trust part is, I trust you with my wife, right? It's a little bit different, but I know you have my back, I know you're good at your job, but can I trust you, okay? This is the basic graph that now, once you've gone through all of this stuff, the members of SEAL Team 6 use this graph to decide, do I want this person to be on this SEAL team, okay? So here's what the graph looks like. So you can see on the vertical side, low performance, low trust, medium performance, low trust, high performance, low trust. And then it's high, medium, medium, and now we get over to low performer, high trust, medium performer, high trust, high performer, high trust. So that's what all those boxes mean. There's 9 possibilities, all right? And what they do is they take each person and put them into one of those categories. Now, if you're looking at this from your perspective in your company, who on this chart would you absolutely not want to be on your team? And I know everybody right now is pointing at that bottom left corner, that one right there, low performer, low trust. We don't want that person, okay? Nobody wants that person on their team. Okay, fair enough. Everybody though wants this person, right? High performer, high trust. Man, that's a freaking rock star, right? That's who you want. That is, cream of the crop, right? What about this person? A high performer, super at their job, but low trust. Do you want that person on your team? Do you want that person leading other people? The obvious answer is no. But why? Because that is what we do more times than not in all industries, right? We promote people because they're high performers. They're really good at their job. They're the best pipe fitter, the best electrician, the best lineman we have, so we promote them. But we never teach them how to be a leader. And you end up with that. That, my friends, is called a toxic leader. There are a lot of toxic leaders in this world. I'm telling you from experience. I was in the United States Army from 1990 to 1998. Now, while I had some of the best leaders I've ever come across, I also had some of the worst. And now let's think about this outside of a military environment. Let's think about at your utility, at your co-op, at your construction company, whatever it is you do. The people that are in your organization, at whatever level they are, whether it's foreman, whether it's CEO, or everything in between, if they have been promoted through the ranks, all because of their performance, they are a toxic leader. Now, no, you definitely don't want that person on your team. All right, what about the rest of them though? So let's talk about the high performer, medium trust. I'd like that person on my team. We can deal with that, absolutely. What about a medium performer, high trust? Yeah, I'd take that person on my team. Matter of fact, I would take anybody in the high trust line, but I don't want anyone in the low trust line. If it's low trust, if I don't know without a doubt that I can trust you with my wife, with my bank account, with my, everything, I don't want you on my team, okay? If I can, so what about low performer, medium trust? No, still low performer, medium, that's just not good enough. What about this person? A low performer, but high trust. Now you have to understand, in the SEAL teams, a low performer at this level is still an extremely good performer. They're just not as good as some others. But this person in your organization, in your co-op, in your utility, whatever it is that you do, we can teach this person how to be a better electrician. We can teach that person how to turn the wrench better, be a better whatever it is they do. I can't teach trust, okay? That's something you have to earn, and it's part of leadership. I would take that person in my team, and I think everybody would agree we could probably train that person. So now, let's look at this now and watch this. That's a bad leader. We all know that. That's a bad leader. That's a bad leader. That's a bad leader. That's an average. That's bare minimum average leader. That's an average at best also. We could probably get them to average. So there's a great leader. That's the rock star. And that's a good leader. That's a good leader. Now look at that chart now. Do you realize there are more bad leaders out there than good leaders? And that's a fact. Not just in the military, guys. I'm talking about your organization. I'm talking about my organization. Leaders in general. If you don't treat it as a skill, if you don't try to learn to be a leader, if you don't become a student of leadership, you are never going to make it into any of these areas. Could you be an average leader and only have some of the skills? Probably. More than likely, though, you're going to be down in this area here. You're average at best. But if you want to be a good leader, if you want to be a great leader, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But get to that good leader spot, it takes some work. But there are more bad leaders than good leaders. So what does it take? What does it take to be a good leader? Okay, so I came up with, this is my version, and can everybody see the screen? We're good? Okay, so this is what I put together for good leaders. And there's a bunch of them, but a vision. You have to have a vision. You have to be an expert communicator. Communication, okay, is another skill. That is not something you're born with. You must practice it. You must try to learn it. You must become a student of communication. Learn how to communicate. And I don't mean just communicate in a verbal sense or in a written sense. There are so many different aspects to communication. Become an expert communicator. You must have the willingness to learn. Now, I don't think anybody out there is going to ever say, I'm not willing to learn. These are one of those things you're going to have to dig deep. You're going to have to really, really look inside yourself. So quick story. When I first started in the safety world, the company I worked for sent me to get the CSST. It's a construction site safety technician course. And it's one of the lower certifications you can get, but hey, I'd be a certified site safety technician. But you got to understand where I was at that time. I had been in the military for 8 years. I had a degree, right? So I had, I was a real safety professional. So I'm going to this class that I honestly felt was beneath me, but I needed the letters behind my name, so I attended the class. And here I am. It's a 16-week course, and in the first week, we take a test. And again, I'm, kind of halfway doing it all. And sure enough, I made a D on my exam for that week. And that kind of set the tone for me right there. I realized then that I'm not as smart as I thought I was. If you don't have the willingness to learn, if you don't have the desire to learn and understand that you don't already know everything, you're never going to be a great leader. Influence. This is another skill, all right? Communication, leadership, and influence are all skills. You must learn how to do them. Study it, read about it, take classes on it, whatever you have to do, and then practice it, okay? I can tell you right now, there have been times I've sat in my office right there in Covington, Louisiana, and practiced how I was going to approach someone that I wanted to influence or that I needed to influence. Now, some people are saying, well, that's manipulation. No. I need you to understand something. Manipulation comes from a bad place. You're trying to get something out of someone that's going to benefit you. Okay, that's manipulation. Influence comes from a good place. You are trying to influence something to become better. So there is a difference. I'm not talking about manipulating people, but influence is another skill you must have. Inspiration. We're going to talk about inspiration in just a minute, but inspiration. You need to be able to inspire people. Integrity. As I've gone through the ranks in safety, from a field level safety professional to the director and all the stuff I've done, I have come across people that they did not have a lot of integrity. I told you guys the last time I was here when I was talking to you about my book. This is a true story. All right. So you can see it on the banner right there. It says behavior-based safety is outdated and can be counterproductive. So I took that exact phrase and I posted it on a Facebook page. All right. A safety professional Facebook group. That's what it said. Behavior-based safety is outdated and can be counterproductive. I got kicked out of the group. I got blocked from the group, right? You got to understand, these people that are in behavior-based mode, they're just nuts about this behavior-based stuff. When you tell them that behavior-based safety is counterproductive, that's like telling a Southern Baptist there's no Jesus, okay? They lose their minds over this stuff. And the thing is, I get kicked out of the group. I can't be a member of a safety professional group because I said that. Now, I said all that to say this. A few months later, we at Empirical had our inaugural Utility Safety Summit at our office in Covington. And we have it coming up again in July, by the way. If you want to attend, just you can go to our website and find out more about that. But so we have this safety summit. And I have about 85 people show up to the first safety summit, and they sit there all day for about 7 hours and listen to me talk. And so after lunch, after the first session after lunch, I'm going to step outside the room, and you guys know if you speak during breaks, people want to come up and talk to you. And I love that, by the way. So if you ever see me speak somewhere, come on up afterwards and let's chat. I love doing that. So anyway, I'm going to step outside and have a guy come up to me and he says, hey, and to talk to you for a minute. I'm like, okay, all right, let's talk. And okay, I'm just going to say verbatim what he said. I'm the asshole that kicked you out of the Facebook group. Wait, what? Yeah. He approached me. Now you got to understand something. First of all, he was not invited to this summit. He heard about it through the grapevine. He shows up on his own. He sits there for 6 hours of the 8-hour day, and 6 hours he listens to me talk, to come outside and tell me, I'm the one that kicked you out of the Facebook group, and I'm sorry. I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't understand what it was you were saying. I took someone else's word for some stuff, and I made a rash decision. And I shouldn't have done it. Now I understand what you're talking about. That's integrity. That is extreme integrity, okay? His name's Michael Bro, by the way. Michael, if you're watching, that's for you, babe. Michael has more integrity than I could hope to have. I pride myself in being a good leader, in having integrity. I'll be honest, guys, I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know if I could have, but he did. Integrity, you must have it. Delegation, they call that decentralized command in the military. You need to be able to delegate. If you can't, and when I say delegate, I don't mean tell them to go do something and then tell them how to do it and follow them step by step and micromanage them. You know, I tell my wife this quite often. Sweetheart, you can do one of two things. You can tell me what to do or how to do it, but not both. Okay? So if you want me to take the trash out, I will gladly do that, but don't tell me how to do it. All right? Same thing. You need to be able to delegate to people that you trust to do some things. You have to learn how to do that. Gratitude is huge, because when people are doing things that make you look good, you need to have gratitude. Respect. I want to say this. So I said earlier, leadership is a verb. Respect is a verb. Think about that for a minute. Respect is not something that you get, right? Respect is a verb. It's an action. It is what you do. You must give respect to get respect, okay? Are all people deserving of respect? Absolutely not. But if you want it, you have to be able to give it first. Authenticity, you need to be authentic. Self-aware, now that kind of goes back up to the willingness to learn, right? You need to understand what you know and don't know. Do not think for a minute you already know it, because you don't. Be humble. You need to drop the ego, all right? Get rid of it. It's not going to help you, okay? Drop the ego and be willing to learn. We're almost done. Empathy is huge, because we're dealing with human beings. And when you are a leader and you have other people that are answering to you, you need to be empathetic. Now, what is the difference in empathy and sympathy? See, sympathy means I feel sorry for you. Empathy means I don't understand, I'm not in your situation, but I'm empathetic to what it is that you're going through, what it is you're dealing with, whether it's your personal life or work life, whatever. Empathy is a big one to be a leader. Flexibility. All right, let's say it like it is. If you're not flexible, it'll break you, okay? Patience, you have to be patient. And continuous improvement. Always continue to learn. You know, Brent and his wife Pam and we all went to dinner last night, and we were talking about music and just a bunch of stuff. And on my phone, I have a bunch of books that I download, and I listen to them in my truck. I have about an hour drive to my office and an hour drive home every day. Or like yesterday, I was traveling here. I spend a lot of time, doing things like that. And I have headphones, or I have the Bluetooth in my truck, and I continuously listen to books about leadership, about influence, about communication, about safety, that will help make me better. Continuous improvement is a must. All right. The bad leader stuff, guys, is pretty much just the opposite of everything I just said, okay? The inability to follow. If you can't follow, you will not be a good leader. But wait a minute, if I'm a leader, I shouldn't have to follow. No, that is not true. Absolutely not true. You must be able to follow in order to be a good leader, all right? And the rest of this stuff is, again, pretty much just the opposite of everything on the other side, all right? You don't want to change. You already know it all. You don't listen. Avoiding conflict. You see number 6 right there, avoiding conflict. Now, this is one of the more difficult skills of being a leader. No one likes to have the hard conversations, okay? But if you're going to be a good leader, you have to be willing to have the hard conversations. Now, I'm not talking about the, okay, come sit in my office, your annual review is terrible, you're not a good employee, I have to let you go. I don't mean that conversation. I mean the conversations about, hey, I made a mistake. It's my fault, right? I'm owning it. Here's what I'm going to do to fix it. Those are difficult conversations to have. What a lot of people try to do, though, is let's just don't talk about it and it'll go away. Well, it's not, all right? You have to be willing to do that. All right. Understand that leadership is not about rank or title. It's about inspiring people. Now, what is the difference in motivation and inspiration? See, all of these people are some of the best leaders in history. Gandhi, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Mother Teresa, some of the greatest leaders in the world. What they knew, what they did was, first of all, surround themselves with people that are smarter than them, okay? And they understood all of the things, the 16 things we just talked about. They understood how to be a leader. They knew how to inspire others. So what's the difference? Motivation versus inspiration. Well, I have a dear friend of mine. He's mentioned in the first book, and I'm going to mention him here again. His name is John Paul Corville. And JP, if you're watching, shout out, babe. John Paul is a retired sergeant major from the Marine Corps. And one of the hardest dudes I've ever met in my life, all right? But one of the best leaders you will ever come across. And you can Google him. It's J-E-A-N, John Paul, P-A-U-L, Corville. John Paul Corville. You can Google him, and he has lots of stuff out there. He does public speaking like this. And he has this one thing that he talks about back when he was still in the Marine Corps about motivation and inspiration. And this is what he says. He says, motivation is like a cup of coffee. If you motivate someone, it'll last for an hour or two, but it'll wear off. When you inspire someone, that lasts a lifetime. So that's the difference in motivation and inspiration. We need to know how to inspire people. Make it so, now from a safety perspective strictly, if I can inspire someone to want to do it the safe way, I just made my job a lot easier, right? I don't have to convince them to do something a certain way. I've inspired them. And again, in the book, I talk about how to do this, but there's a lot of ways, right? I talk about if you can make them laugh. If you can make someone laugh and get a point across through comedy, through laughter, you can inspire them with that. You can make them cry, touch a nerve, talk to them about their family, about their children, whatever it might be, and inspire them that way. Or you can shock them. Tell them a story about something that's just mind-blowing that, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. So make them laugh, make them smile, or make them laugh, make them cry, shock them. Any of those, excuse me, are ways that you can inspire others. So understand this. Now, we're getting towards the end of the presentation, and if you guys have any questions, please, shoot them out there. I'll stick around as long as we need, and we can talk. I'll answer whatever questions you may have. But I want you to walk away from this today understanding this. There's no such thing as a bad team. Only bad leaders. There are no bad teams, only bad leaders. And that comes from a book called Extreme Ownership. It's written by two Navy SEALs, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. It's a #1 New York Times bestseller. Great book. If you want to learn to be a leader, I highly recommend it. But it's if your team is failing, now whatever your team is that a two-man crew? Is that a 5,000 person company? Whatever it is, if you have a team of any size that's not up to par or that's failing, it's your fault. As the leader, it is your fault. There are no bad teams, only bad leaders. So we need to have, this is part of habit 5, we have to have leadership in safety, right, throughout your company that leads the health and safety with enthusiasm. So a lot of you guys will understand this. How many of your upper echelon in your company, vice presidents, presidents, CEOs, whatever, you have your annual safety kickoff or your annual training meeting, whatever they call it. Every company usually has one, and they'll stand up and they'll tell you how, safety means everything, and, do it safe or don't do it, and they'll talk about it. And then you never hear from them about it again. That is not leading safety with enthusiasm, okay? Whoever the leadership is in your company, and it might be you. If you're that person, then you need to start doing this. Lead safety with enthusiasm. Talk about what's possible. Talk about the direction things are going and how we're going to do this, and stay on top of it and speak about it on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, this next part is for everyone out there that's not in safety, okay? As a safety professional, when I walk up to a job site with my shiny white hard hat on and my brand new steel toes or whatever, and I walk up to the job site, and what do they expect me to talk about? Safety. It's in my title, right? Of course I'm going to talk about safety. When you, the non-safety professional, when you show up to a job site, maybe you're on the job site all day, maybe you're just making a visit, whatever it is. When you walk up to the job site or you walk up to a crew and you're not a safety professional, what do they expect you to talk about? Usually it's something about the quality or the schedule or the supply chain goof ups or something like that. That's what they're expecting you to talk about. What would happen if just one time a day, every one of you out there that's not in a safety position were to walk up to one crew a day or one job site a day, whatever it is for your role, and this is what you did. You walked up to the crew and all you did was talk to them about safety. You're not a safety professional. That's not something they're expecting, okay? When you talk about it in an enthusiastic manner and then walk away, don't talk to that one crew about anything but safety. Just do that one time a day, and that is leading safety with enthusiasm. Talk to them about what's possible. When you do that, you will not imagine the impact that that's going to have. All right, here's some recommended reading for you. If you want to be a leader, I told you need to become a student of leadership. I highly recommend these books. I've read all of them numerous times. Extreme Ownership, again, by the two Navy SEALs, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. The Dichotomy of Leadership is the follow-up book to that, written by the same two people. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That one's been around since the 30s. That is old school leadership right there. All right, but it teaches you how to influence others. And the last one on there is from my good friend David McPeak, Frontline Leadership, The Hurdle. Another fantastic book on how to be a leader. So guys, when it comes to leadership, again, I'm going to go back to it's a skill. It's not something you're born with. It's not something that you're just going to, because of experience, learn how to do. If you don't become a student, learn it, try to absorb it, it's just not going to happen, okay? So if you want to be at the tip of the spear, if you want to be the best leader out there, go out and become a student of leadership, all right? Look, guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching. And again, to Bierer Meters and Brent Jeffries, thank you guys so much for having me. And hey, I'll be back and we'll do another one soon. Thank you guys so much.